Hi guys, how's it going and welcome back to another video. In today's video, it is not a matchday vlog. We are ranking all 24 of the 21-22 season League One home kits. Before we do get into this video, as I always say, this is solely based on my opinion on the shirt. It's not a dig at the club, the fans, the players, anyone associated with the club. It is just solely about the kit and my opinion on it. Again, the comment section is always there for you to debate with me your opinions if you feel differently. I always like seeing other people's opinions on these shirts. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I have some interesting opinions on some of them, so there we go. But before we do get into this video, I just want to say thank you so much for 800 subscribers. Honestly, the support of late has been absolutely crazy. We are flying in terms of hitting that 1,000 goal by the end of the season. It might even happen sooner than that. We'll have to see, but fingers crossed we can hit that target. But if you do go on to enjoy this video, please do consider smashing like and subscribing if you're not already for more videos like this and vlogs in the future. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into the rankings. First up, we do have AFC Wimbledon. Now, obviously, the club's traditional colours of blue and yellow. Simple kit, nice little pattern, good sponsor, works well with the shirt. I like the shoulders, works very well for me. I'm actually going to put this in solid. As you guys know, I am quite a big fan of simple kits, so long as they're not too simple and they're not too over the top. Both ends of the spectrum. So yeah, for me, that is a very nice shirt. Before we do move on with the rest of this video, I do just want to apologise for there being no Accrington Stanley in this tier list. I didn't make it. I don't know why their home shirt isn't on here, so I do apologise. But if I were to give it a rank, I would put it in average. It's not a bad kit. Not a massive fan of the arms, but it's decent. Moving on now to Bolton. Now, this is an interesting one because, again, it's a simple shirt. It's got a nice neck. It's got nice bottoms to the arms. It's just a little... I don't know why. It's just... I don't get the same feeling about it as I did for the Wimbledon one. I feel like maybe I should put it in solid, but I don't know. I'm going to go for average. I am going to go for average, just purely because it's a little too similar to previous seasons. They haven't really gone for anything too new, and obviously, with home shirts, you often don't see that, but nowadays I feel like we're moving more in the direction of transition between kits. You look at Cheltenham, we usually have solid red and white stripes, quite plain, like the shirt you can see behind me on the back of my chair. But this season, obviously, we've gone more bold. We'll go on to that kit in a few shirts' time. But it's just there's not enough there to kind of make it more than average for me. Next up, we do have Burton. Now, for me, this is not great. Obviously, the traditional club's colours of black and yellow. The black line does not work. I don't really understand why they've done it like that. It looks not very smooth at all around the sponsor. It's not really my kind of shirt. You know, they could have made it work a bit better. I'm not an expert on this kind of stuff, but for me, that's not the best of kits. Next up is Cambridge United. Now, I quite like Cambridge United as a club. In previous season, they have had some fantastic home and away shirts. So much so that I've even, considered saying they are my favourite shirts in the EFL that season. However, this one, for me, it's a love-hate shirt. And unfortunately, for Cambridge, for me, it is on the hate spectrum. I don't have a clue what they've tried to do with that shirt. The pattern is just a mess for me. They've tried to go too bold. It's not my kind of shirt. Yeah, shambles. Next up is Charlton. Now, this is an interesting one because I don't think the sponsor works at all well. But then again, obviously, they don't have a choice on what colour the sponsor is unless there's an agreement there, obviously. On home kits, there doesn't tend to be. However, it's still a nice shirt. Obviously, it's made by Hummel, which pretty much guarantees that it's a half-decent shirt. I'm just not a massive fan. But I am going to put it in solid. I think it's a decent kit. I do think it's a decent kit, but it's not one of my favourites. It's close, but there's just some aspects of the shirt. Obviously, there'll be an image on the screen. There's some aspects of it which I'm just not a massive fan of. The pattern is a bit there and thereabouts. It's not quite, properly up there with the shirts that will be going in the top tier. So yeah, it's still a good shirt, but it's only in solid for me. Next up now is my club, Charlton Town. Obviously, I was just talking about it. We've gone a bit more bold. Obviously, we used this kit in League 2 last season. We use each kit home and away for 2 season periods, which I think is quite good in terms of, obviously, we don't have to spend money on a new shirt every season as fans. But, I mean, it's not the best in the league, but it's solid. The thin white lines work well around the sponsor. The colours work well. Nice black bottoms to the arms as well, so it's not just completely plain white. Nice neckline as well. It's a solid shirt for me, just purely because we've stepped it up a bit in terms of, it's not, again, just a solid red and white lines, the basic, what we would usually go for. We've gone a bit more bold, and at first I didn't like this kit, but it's grown on me, and in my opinion, it is up there with some of the best in League 1 this season, but not quite in the top tier. Next up is Crewe Alexandra. It is a nice shirt, but I do just think there's a little bit too much to it. The pattern at the top is nice. I don't think it fades away down the rest of the shirt enough. But I just don't know about it. I feel like I do like it. It's not a bad shirt at all, but I feel like it's just a little bit clunky. The pattern is just a bit strange, really. I don't really know 100% what it is. I'll be honest with you. If there is any meaning behind it, Crewe fans, please do feel free to let me know. But I think it's a decent shirt. I do think it's decent, and it's. I wouldn't say it's top 5, but it's enough to get it into solid for me. Next up, we do move on to Doncaster Rovers. Now, for me, it's decent, but it's nothing more than average for me. I don't really like the shirts where the lines go across. I'm much more a fan of them going down. Yeah, it's pretty basic, isn't it, really? The colour scheme isn't very brave. It's just solid red and white and nothing else. It's not a bad shirt. Again, it does the job. Shows Doncaster's colours. It's not bad, but it's just not, it's definitely very bang average. Next up, we do have Fleetwood Town. Now, another shirt made by Hummel. The shoulders are absolutely beautiful with the red at the bottom of the arms. Decent shirt. A little bit of kind of black lines fading into the middle of the shirt from the shoulders across the chest, but the neckline lets it down. I don't know what that white bit is in between kind of the badge and the kit maker, should I say. I don't know why it's there. I don't really know what the necessity is. It kind of ruins what would be an absolutely class shirt. I'm still going to put it in good because I think, it's quite similar to Cheltenham's, obviously, with the white arms. Red, white sponsor. It is very similar in the grand scheme of things, but I just think the only thing that stops that shirt being in the class category is solely the bottom of the neckline. But yeah, still a very nice kit. Now moving on to Gillingham. Basic, but I like it. I don't think you can really go wrong with the colours of black and blue. Obviously, Cheltenham quite some time ago had an away kit that was black and blue that was absolutely gorgeous. And I've always been a fan of Gillingham's kits just solely because of those two colours. Obviously, it's the club's traditional colours, but, they haven't gone wrong with it. It works. It's smooth. It's got a good neckline. They haven't gone wrong with that at all. Again, I'm going to put it in solid. Maybe a bit more onto it. Maybe just, I don't know, some sort of pattern on the shoulders, and it would definitely be in class for me. But it's still in solid. Notice how a lot of these shirts are in solid and very few are below. There's some good shirts in League 1 this season, I've got to say. Next up is Ipswich Town. Now this is a shirt. This is a very, very nice shirt. It is subtle, but it's still got some thin, dark blue lines kind of in the backdrop of the shirt. The shoulders are nice, obviously with the Adidas sponsor. There's a nice little bit of white at the bottom of the arms. The sponsor is a bit interesting, obviously, but that is, just the way it is with some clubs. It doesn't ruin the shirt. I'll be honest, it's plain, but it is a very, very nice kit. And for me, I think it's the first one in class. I do think it's the first one in class. It's subtle, but I like it. And there's a little bit more to it with the backdrop of the dark blue thin lines. Yeah, very nice shirt. First one in the top category. Moving on now to Lincoln City. Now, I've got to say, I like Lincoln as a club. Obviously, Josh Griffiths now is the number one for them, obviously on loan from West Brom with us last season, so that makes me like the club more. But I don't know what that shirt is. I'm going to be honest with you. Solid red and white lines. It's just a bit plain, so that would put it in average. But then it's just the way there's just a block of red. There's no fading around the sponsor whatsoever. It takes over the shirt too much, and then the shoulders are just awful too. I've got to say, I'm not a massive fan at all of this home kit from Lincoln. Like I say, I like them as a club. They've had some decent shirts in the past, but this joins Cambridge in the bottom category, I've got to say. Moving on now to MK Dons, and it's nice. It's a nice shirt, but it just... I like subtle shirts. There is nothing to this shirt. It's literally solely just the black sponsor, the black badge, the black kit maker, and a decent black neckline, to be fair. But I do really like this kit, but I think it's unfair on the other shirts that I've put in this category to put it anywhere other than average. It's decent, but there's just very, very little to it. Yeah, that's enough said on that one, really, I think. Moving on to Morecambe now, and I'll be honest, it's not awful. Kind of the stripe going across the shirt, I'm not a fan of, and it's the fact that it's kind of... there's a weird pattern to that stripe as well. It works decent with the sponsor, but, you know, it's just... it's not great for me, and it's quite similar to Burton's, to be honest with you. There's just, you know, one line that goes across the shirt, and other than that, it's quite plain, and that line doesn't even look good on the shirt. This one looks a bit better, but for me, it's just not doing it. I'm going to put it in not great. It fades away nicely, the line that is, but other than that, it's quite a boring shirt, and... yeah, I don't really like the pattern to the stripe, so yeah, not for me. Moving on to Oxford United, it's again a nice shirt, but it's just very, very plain. There's no pattern to it, it's just block yellow. The sponsor is quite nice, although it is quite big on the shirt. It does take over a bit. I mean, you know, at least they've attempted. They've got a bit of yellow on the bottom of the arms. Although I don't know about the little black line, should I say, over the shoulders. I'm not too sure about that, I've got to say. But it's not bad. I do quite like it in a way, but it's just there's not enough going on. I'm not a massive fan of the line over the shoulders, like I say. I'm going to put it in average. It's not bad, but it does the job. Next up is Plymouth Argyle. Again, they do have a singular black stripe over the shoulder. The neckline is black around the edges that fades into green at the front. I actually like that. I wouldn't usually like that, but I think because it's a dark green, it does actually work quite well. And I'll be honest with you, this is probably my top 3 favourite shirts in League One this season. I think it is an absolute beauty. The sponsor does not take over the shirt at all. The black lines, you know, the thin black lines going down the shirt and around the sponsor just work so well. It's very similar to the lines of Cheltenham's shirt, but it's just a very, very nice shirt. Simplistic, but it's solid. I've said it's solid, but I'm going to put it in the top category. It's a lovely kit, and I like it a lot. Now we are on to Pompey. Manufactured by Nike, decent sponsor, local sponsor as well, University of Portsmouth. Quite basic, little white stripe, if you like, underneath the arms and down the side, which is quite nice. The colour scheme is simple. But what makes this for me is the kind of quite a subtle pattern on the shoulders. And it's very nice. It's a very nice shirt. I'm going to put it in solid. I like it, but it's just not quite there. Maybe a little bit more and it would be in class, but it's just a little too basic for me. But I still like it a lot. Moving on into the final 6 kits of this video, and we are now on to Rotherham, and it is very similar to Cheltenham's, with the white lines going down the shirt. Simple, kind of small sponsor, which works well. A little red line at the bottom of the arms, again, works pretty well. Neckline is fine. Not a massive fan, again, of the line going down over the shoulder. I don't know why a lot of clubs have gone for that this season. Obviously, it's just how Puma have designed it, but it's just a bit weird. I'm not a massive fan of that, but it doesn't take over the shirt. It's decent. It's solid. It's very similar to Cheltenham's. I'm going to put it in solid because, again, there's very little difference to ours. Yeah, it's a solid kit. We are now on to Sheffield Wednesday. I'm going to be honest, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. The lines are almost too thin on the shirt. It just looks a bit weird. The neckline is fine, to be honest. The arms kind of just, I don't know, it's just a bit too plain on the arms, but it's not awful. It's not for me. I much prefer their away kit, which will be in another video to follow this one. But the home kit isn't for me. It goes in not great. Next up is Shrewsbury Town. Now, obviously, the basic club colours of amber and blue. Pretty plain kit, not bad. Only criticism I have is the fact that the blue stripes do go over the shoulder a bit too far. I think they should probably just stop at the shoulder and then maybe have a different pattern on the shoulder or something like that. But it's not awful, but it's not any more than average. Now we have Sunderland. Now, we very rarely see shirts with the lines fading up at the top. They tend to fade down to the bottom. However, you know, this is quite a rare one to see with that kind of, I don't know, style, if you like. But that doesn't mean it looks bad at all. I think it's a very, very nice shirt. Not one of my more favourite ones, but it's pretty decent. You can't really fault it. You know, the kit manufacturer works well, the sponsor works well. It doesn't take over the shirt. It's a little bit more than, you know, just the plain red and white. So, I like it. I'm going to put it in, yeah, I'm going to put it in solid. I think it's a decent shirt. Now, we do have Wigan Athletic. It's pretty plain, isn't it, really? Just blue and white, nothing really much else to it. Again, it's not awful, but it's no more than average. There's nothing special about it to put it in anything more than average. And the final kit of this video, Wycombe Wanderers, and what a shirt to end on, I've got to say. It is an absolute peach. The kind of quartet of dark blue and light blue works very nicely, fading into each other. The sponsor doesn't take over the shirt and actually works quite well. The kit manufacturer, again, is quite subtle on there. Shoulders are a bit interesting and the arms are a bit interesting, but, you know, it doesn't stop the flow of the shirt. It's still very nice. It's still one of the best in the league for me, and that is why it is in the class category. But that does conclude today's kit ranking video. Feel free to smash like if you did enjoy. Comment down below your opinions on the shirts if you do have any different ones to me. It is always nice to see your guys' opinions as well. But thank you all very much for watching. Please do subscribe if you're not already and you did enjoy today's video. I will be doing an away kits version of this very soon, in the coming days, fingers crossed. So yeah, stay tuned for that one if you are interested in that. But yeah, have a class rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one.